I'm Professor Jaiswal from Shri Shivaji College of Engineering and Technology, Akola, Amravati University from India. So today I'm going to tell you something about biometric fetal contour extraction using hybrid level seq. Okay. So these are the contents of my presentation. I'll let you know. We'll start with the introduction. Then we have different approaches for image segmentation, the similarity based segmentation, discontinuity based segmentation, and one that I implemented is a hybrid segmentation algorithm. And lastly, we'll see the conclusion and the future scope. Okay, so let's see the introduction first. What is image segmentation? Image segmentation is nothing but a scheme of partitioning an image into different parts. Why we are doing the segmentation? Because in medical image processing, we require to extract the parts, different organs from the image, and we need to study those organs. So for extracting the features from the image, we are performing the image segmentation. Image segmentation allows us to visualize the organs, analyze the shape and sizes of the organ, and help in making the diagnostic decisions. What happens is physical segmentation is a tiresome and time consuming process. And most of the time it is not accurate because it is subjected to variations from one expert to another. So, in order to use the information, in order to avoid the variations, what we are doing, we are using the information which is generated from the computerized analysis. Okay. So what I have done here is in my proposed system, I have extracted the fetal contour. The fetal parameters we are extracting from the images. We can say that we have an ultrasound image of a fetus, and from this fetal ultrasound image, we are going to extract the parameters. So only one thing I have done is I have extracted the contour of the fetus. So why we are going to do this? Why we are doing the image segmentation of it? In order to avoid the variations that we have with the different physicians. So what we are doing here, before starting the segmentation of the fetal images, we are pre-processing that images. Pre-processing, why we are requiring a pre-processing? Because the images is containing inhomogeneous intensities, and there is also presence of the speckle noise. So in order to remove that noise, what we have to do is we have to use the filtering mechanism, and the filter that I have implemented is an isotropic diffusion filtering. Okay. So the proposed approach aims at developing a novel segmentation technique which will extract the fetal contour accurately with reduced dependence on the initial curve placement. So let's see the types of the image segmentation that we have. The motto is very clear that we want to extract the fetal contour from the images. So let's see how we can classify the image segmentation techniques. So image segmentation techniques can be classified into two types. One is similarity based and another approach is a discontinuity based. So in similarity based approaches, the image is partitioned based on the uniformity in the intensity or the texture value. That means it is basically classifying the images, or it is dividing the image depending on the how your intensity values are varying. So the output of this method is creating more coherent region as compared to the discontinuity based approach. Whereas in discontinuity based approach, we are using the sudden intensity changes in order to segment the object from the image. So in similarity based approach, we have different methods like thresholding, we have a region growing approach, k-means approach. So, and in discontinuity based approach, we are having different methods like level set. So we'll see one by one. We'll just have an overview of the similarity based approach. I have not concentrated on my similarity based approach. I used the discontinuity based image segmentation approach for classification. So let's see the thresholding. It is very simplest technique. It is a very simple technique that is used in image segmentation, and it is based on using a threshold value for turning a grayscale image into a binary image. That means simply one threshold value is used, and depending on the threshold value, we are classifying the image into a binary image. So what is happening here? Image is having pixels. If the value of the image intensity f of xy will be compared with the threshold value. If it is greater than the threshold, it will be assigned the value 1, and the new image will be constructed. That new image will be a binary image. Why I have not applied this technique onto my fetal images? Because what is happening is the thresholding method, it is sensitive to magnetic field inhomogeneities. So So that's why I have not gone for this thresholding. And what we'll see the drawbacks of the similarity based segmentation approach. The output of the similarity based segmentation approach is not, we can say that we are not getting the exact boundaries. So that's why I have not chosen the similarity based approach for segmenting my fetal images. Okay. So the next technique that is coming under the similarity based approach is a k-means algorithm. So k-means algorithm, what it is doing, it is partitioning the data set into non-overlapping clusters. Okay. So for doing that, it assigns a data points to the cluster depending on the sum of square distance between the data points and the clusters centroids. So basically, k-means algorithm is partitioning the image depending on, we can say that the similarity, or it is taking the differences between the pixel intensity value and the cluster centroid. So how we are calculating the cluster centroid? We are taking the arithmetic mean of all data points which are belonging to the cluster, and we are finding the difference. And where will we get the minimum difference, that will be considered, and at that position we'll stop our clustering. Okay. So the problem with the k-means algorithm that it is sensitive to initialization. Sensitive to initialization means what? Suppose we'll see in detail the meaning of the sensitive to initialization in the further slides. Now let's see what is region growing. Region growing is a simple region-based method. It is a process of grouping the pixels in the regions. So what we are doing in the k-means also, we are grouping the pixels, but depending on the pixel intensity value. Here we have a criteria. Initially seed point will be specified and the pixels will be attached to that seed point depending on the criteria of the similarity. So criteria for the similarity can be the intensity difference, or you may use some another difference. So basically in region growing, we need to specify the homogeneity criteria for the selection. Then what is the drawback of the region growing approach? That it is creating the distorted boundaries. So that is a basic problem of the region growing, that it is creating the distorted boundaries, and we need to specify the seed point initially. So how to decide that seed point, that is a problem, as well as the region growing approach is a time consuming approach. Okay. Now let's see, because of the drawbacks of the similarity based approach, what is the drawback? That the we can say that it is creating the regions. It is classifying the pixels on the basis of the intensity value, rather than it is not taking into consideration the connectivity property. So the output that we'll be getting will not be appropriate. So let's see, just before going to the another approach, let's see the output of this approach. I applied these approaches on my fetal images. I have taken that images from the ultrasound sonography center. Okay, so this is the output of the algorithms that I have tested. This algorithm like thresholding, k-means, region growing, and fuzzy c-means approaches I have employed under the similarity based segmentation. So this is my initial fetal image. So what I have done, when I applied the thresholding on that, I get this region. So what I want, I don't want these boundaries because these are not area of interest. I'll annotate it. Okay, so we can say that this is what exactly what I want here is, I want exactly this part only. I want this circular part to be extracted from my image. Okay, rather than extracting all the background part of the image. So I'm expecting in the circular part of the image. So my further job is, after analyzing the circular part, I have to study the internal organs of the fetus and I have to find out the dimensions of the particular parts. So I stopped here. I extracted just the fetal contour. So this is the result when I applied this approach on the image. Okay. This is the first image I have shown the output of. This is the second image on which I have applied the similarity based segmentation, and it is not giving me the expected result. And this is my third image. Like that, I have performed the segmentation around about 100 images. Okay. And that is not satisfactory. The output of this particular segmentation, the similarity based approach for my case, for fetal extraction, it is not appropriate. So I switched to the discontinuity approach. The discontinuity based approach, what it is doing, that it is extracting based on the ages. Okay. So let's see the discontinuity based approach. So in discontinuity based approach, again, we have two types. One is a traditional approach and another is a deformable approach. So in traditional approach, what we are doing is we are going to make use of a mask which are convolved with the image. So under traditional approach, we have Sobel edge detectors, Previtt edge detector, and Canny edge detector. Again, we have a problem. The output of these detectors is not a continuous edges. That we need to use the edge chaining algorithm if you want a continuous output. So that is a drawback of the traditional approach. So that's why I switched to the discontinuity based segmentation approach. So what is happening in discontinuity based segmentation approach? We are using in that also we are using a deformable approach. So deformable approach means what? Will have a contour, and that contour will deform under the influence of the forces, and wherever will get the minimum energy at that particular time, the contour will stop evolving. That means I'm getting a continuous edges, not distorted edges or distorted boundaries. So under deformable approach, I'm having again two types. One is a parametric approach and another is a non-parametric approach. So we have to see this in detail. This is just the classification. Under parametric, we have a active contour or 6, and in non-parametric, the level set approach. Level set is again classified into age-based and the region-based approach, and the age-based approach is classified into geodesic active contour, and the region-based we have a Chanvis. So what I have implemented is I have implemented the modifications, or I have made the modifications to the Chanvis model. So we have two variations there. We have a local model and we have a global model. So I have used the hybrid model. So this is regarding the discontinuity based approach. This is regarding the discontinuity based approach. This is an overview. We have to see in detail the active control model and the level set models. So as I said, the drawback of the traditional approach are edges are required to be merged into edge chains in order to improve the borders, because the edges that we are getting, they are not connected. So we need to merge them into edge chain uh, to improve the borders in the image. So this is a drawback of the traditional approach, as well as these are noise sensitive. So what is the advantage of the deformable model? That it is generating the parametric curves and they are robust to noise and the spurious edges. So we have two approaches. One is the parametric deformable model and another is a geometrical deformable model. The another name for the parametric deformable model is the active contour model or the snake. And the under geometrical models, we have the level set. So let's see what is active contours or snakes. So what we have here in active contours, as I said, in deformable model, we have the curves, and the curves are deforming under the influence of the forces. So active contour is making use of two forces. One is the internal force and the external force. So internal force is used to preserve the shape smoothness, and external force is used to attract the curve toward the desired boundary. So the traditional parametric active contour is given by, suppose we have a curve P of S, which is given as, we have two values for it, X of S and Y of S, and S is belonging from, or S is changing from 0 to 1. So for this particular curve, we will have the equation. That equation is E internal P of S plus E external P of S. So what is this E internal? E internal is what? It is indicating the internal energy of the curve, and external is indicated by EEXT. So what we are doing there in internal energy, we are taking the derivatives, the first derivative of the curve, that P dash of S is indicating the first derivative of the curve, and P double dash of S is indicating the second derivative of the curve. Okay. And from that, we are calculating the internal energy. So next, so as I said, P dash of S and P double dash of R, what? They are the first derivative and the second derivative about PS. So B is specifying, or the beta is specifying, it is a rigidity parameter. It is indicating how much your contour can bend around the corners. And alpha is what? It is the elasticity parameter, which will indicate how you can stretch, how long you can stretch your curve along its length. Okay. So this is the internal energy, and the external energy is obtained from the image data or from the boundaries of the image. The external energy of the snake is depending on the gradient of the image. So G6 here is standing for the gradient, or it is calculated from the gradient of the image. Okay. So snakes is making use of internal energy and external energy, and we are going to calculate the minimum energy. At the point we'll get the minimum energy, our curve evolution will stop. Okay. So the next, The problem with the snake is that the moment we enter the local minima, so it may happen that the local minima will always not point to the boundary of the object. Okay, so that is a drawback of the snake. So in order to avoid those drawback, we have different we have another approach, that level set approach. As well as if in our image we have two objects, we are not able to segment those objects with the help of a snakes. So we have the next approach, that is a level set. So level set, it is what, as I told, level set, the another name is what, it is a geometrical deformable model. It is proposed by O'Shea and James Etienne, and it makes use of a partial differential equations. Okay, so what we have, you can see here, we have this image, and if you want to obtain the boundary of this particular image, what you have to do is, the curve will initialize the curve like this, and that curve will evolve, and it has to find this boundary. That means the curve will have to split into two halves. But in case of a snake, the curve will not be able to split here, but in case of a level set, the curve will be able to split in order to find the boundaries. So that is known as a topological changes of the curve. Here the topology that we were having only one curve, now in order to detect the boundary, that curve need to be split, so that this changes is not possible, or this topological change was not possible with the help of a snake. But in level set, we have a topological changes that can be detected. Okay, so in our approach, what we have done is, we have used the narrow band approach. Okay, so what we have done, consider one curve. Here also we have this object. Here we have a curve inside this. Now suppose if I want to extract the fetal contour, I'll have to write the contour somewhere around like this. So what I'll have to do here is, I'll have to write this contour somewhere like this. So this is what the contour. Initially, I don't know what is the boundary of my object. I'll initialize some contour. So once I initialize the contour will deform under the influence of the forces. So what we can say, that the objects which are there, or the pixels which are there on the boundary of the contour, will have the sign distance function. In case of a snakes, we were having the internal and external forces, but here we have the sign distance function. So what that sign distance function is, it is, here I have indicated this as a circular part, this is a curve. So whichever points which lie outside this curve will have a sign distance function which is less than 0. Inside the curve will have the sign distance function greater than 0, and on the boundary the sign distance function will be 0. So our aim is, we want to minimize this energy, or we want to move this curve to the boundary of the object. Okay, and this is the equation that we'll be using for deforming our curve, where k is what, it is a curvature, and phi is level set. Phi is what, our level set function, and f is our speed function. With the using that speed, our curve is deforming. So this is a level set equation that is used for handling the topological changes. Okay, so the approach that I have employed is a narrow banded level set approach. So in order to decrease the, or we can say that in order to reduce the time, evolution time, I have employed the narrow banded approach. That means instead of moving, what happens here, I want to detect this object, so I have used this circle. One may use this circle, the large one, the larger circle. So what will have, the larger the circle, the more will be the time required will be. So what I'll do is, I'll train my system. So in my system, what I've done is, I have just given the expected part, the region of interest part I have indicated, and from that the curve will start deforming, so that the time will be reduced. Okay, so I employed the narrow banded approach. In geometrical active contour models, or rather level sets can be classified into geodesic active contour model, the Mamarchev model, and the Chanves model. Okay, so let's see what is a geometric active contour model. Disadvantage we'll see. Let's first see the geodesic active contour model. So this is the equation that we'll be having in the geodesic active contour model. So geodesic active contour model, it is based on it is utilizing the gradient, as well as we have here C of Q is what? It is a curve. C dash of curve is C dash of Q is what? It is a first derivative of the contour. Then what is the problem that is faced, or that is the what is the disadvantage of the geodesic active contour is that it is not able to retrieve the angles. Okay, so that it is also possessing the local segmentation property. That means if we are giving the desired contour near to the object, the region of interest, then only it will be able to properly segment that object. So that means your GAC is having the local segmentation property. The advantage is that it can detect the several objects. Okay, so this is GAC is coming one of the category of the level set algorithm. Okay, so let's see the disadvantage of the, initially we'll see the disadvantage of the level set. Okay, we have two approaches. We have a snake approach and we have a level set approach. In the snake approach, we were stuck with the local minimum problem. In the level set, we have GAC and CV, and okay, let it be. We have finished with the GAC. Now we'll go on to the CV model, and after that we'll come to the drawbacks of the level set. Okay. So the problem with the GAC is that it is supporting or it is possessing the local segmentation property. That means we need to initialize the contour near to the object. So next approach that we have a Chan-Weiss model. So what we are having, the approach that I have employed is a Chan-Weiss approach. So what we have, the equation for this will be, for Chan-Weiss approach, equation for Chan-Weiss. Okay, so this is the energy equation for the Chan-Weiss model. So what I of xy is a pixel and C1 is what? It is the average intensity of my that particular whatever may be the contour. So what I'm doing, I'm taking the average intensity value of those pixels and I'm subtracting that value from I of xy, and then I'm finding the internal energy. Similarly, I'll do for the external points, I'll calculate the external energy, and my job is to minimize this energy. Okay, so here what I have done in Chan-Weiss model, I have used the average energy of the outside contour and inside the contour. So this is a global approach. Here what I've done is I've used the internal and external energy, that to average. So in case of a local approach, what you're going to do, you're going to modify the contour locally. Here we have used the global property, and in that particular local area, in local approach, what will be having, will be taking the local energy. Those will be calculating the local values. So this value will be varying, or this particular parameter will be changing there. So we were having some problems with the Chan-Weiss model. So what are those problems? Let's see those problems. Or rather see the comparison of the GAC model, geodesic active contour model, and the Chan-Weiss model. Your image gradient is used as a stopping function in case of a GAC model. It is having the features of both level set and snake. It allows us to extract the smooth contour and it allows us to segment the several objects. It is exhibiting the local segmentation property, and here it is supporting your CV model. The basic advantage of the CV model that it is supporting the global segmentation property. This is no matter where you have initialized the contour, the objects will be segmented. Okay, then in case of a noisy image, your performance of the CV approach is better compared to your GAC model. Okay, and even if your boundaries are fuzzy or discontinuous, your Chan-Weiss model is able to segment those objects. But what is the drawback of the CV model? That when we have a inhomogeneous gray intensity, whenever the intensities are not uniform, in that case the CV approach fails. So for that we have used the we can say that we have modified the Chan-Weiss approach. In the Chan-Weiss we have two approaches. One is a global approach and another is a local approach. So what I've done is I've used the initially I performed the global image segmentation, and after that I have applied the local image segmentation. Okay, so that parameter what I've specified C1, C2, that is changing in case of a local image segmentation. Now let's see what is my global region based model is. Basically the purpose of my models is to extract the fetal contour. So before performing the extraction of the contour, what I have done is I have filtered my image. I have applied filtering to my images, and I have used the anisotropic diffusion filter. Okay, so it is performing better, or it is having better filtering capability compared to the median filter and the Wiener filter. Okay, so in my global approach, as I said, I have what I done initially, I initialized the contour, and after initializing the contour, I obtained some rough boundary. So again, that rough boundary I'm giving as an input to the same segmentation approach. So what is I'm done? I'm doing the two-stage segmentation. So whatever the output I get from the previous stage, that will be the input to the my next stage, and I'll be able to reach to my boundaries more quickly. Okay, so I have used the two-stage global segmentation, and whatever output I got from the two-stage global segmentation, I feed that output to my local segmentation. So let's see what is there in my local segmentation approach. What is the drawback of this approach? That it is failing whenever we have a intensity inhomogeneity, and obviously in our fetal images we have a intensity inhomogeneity. Okay, so in order to avoid that, we have a local approach. So what I have done in the local approach, this is the energy equation for my local approach. So here the C1 and C2 are replaced with the Ux and Vx. So what I'm doing is, on the boundary, rather than taking one complete curve, what I'm doing is I'm using a small circles, or here in this particular case I'm using a square window, and that square window is moving on the boundary of my object, and for each and every boundary I'm calculating the values of we can say that average intensity inside the square, average intensity outside the curve. So this is how I'm calculating the internal and external energy. So rather than the default approach, we have a circular window. Here we have a one I implemented is a square window. What is the advantage of using this? That we are able to extract the more accurate boundary compared to a circular approach. So this is the modification I done in that existing algorithm. Okay, now let's see what are the parameters I used for evaluating the performance of my algorithm. So basically we have two image quality measures. The different image quality measures are what? We have the objective and we have the subjective quality measures. So subjective methods are involving, or a human observer is involved in the subjective approach. In the objective approach, we are making use of the mathematical model. So in mathematical model also, if we have a full reference image, we have a first category full reference image, then reduced reference image, and no reference. In case of a reduced reference image, I have a some parameters of the reference image I'm having, not complete reference image I'm having, and no reference image wherein I don't have any reference image to compare with. So the subjective approach is expensive and time consuming. So that's why I've employed the objective method using the full reference. I have used the full reference parameters. So what are those parameters? That I've used the mean squared error and the structural similarity index. Okay, in my for evaluating the performance of my algorithm. So what is a mean square error? Mean square error is given by, we can say that mean square error. So what is that mean square error? X1 of ij and x of ij. X1 of ij is what? The image which is extracted, or the boundary that I got using my algorithm, and x of ij is the initial image that is given as an input. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the pixel wise difference, and from that pixel wise difference I'm squaring that value, and that is my mean square error. The one that is indicated in this particular formula, this is the formula for mean square error that I employed. Okay, and we want the minimum value or the low value of the mean square error. Then we have a PSNR. PSNR is given as 10 log to the base 10, 255 square divided by root mean square. So what is this 255 square? It is for the 8-bit images. Okay. Then what we expect, we should have a high values of peak signal to noise ratio. So the another parameter that I've used is the Dice similarity coefficient. So what we expect, the Dice similarity coefficient, if it is nearer to 1, that means the region that we have extracted and the initial image are matching. If it is nearer to 0, that means there is no overlap between the two regions, or the segmentation is not appropriate. Then the next parameter that I employed is a SSIM. We also want, it is a perceptual metric, and we want SSIM closer to 1. If SSIM is closer to 1, that means the quality of the image is improved. So I've used these parameters for comparing my algorithm. So let's see. And one more parameter I employed is a Jacket similarity coefficient. So let's brief what we expect. So in brief, we can say that what we expect, we want high value of, we want a low value of MSE, mean square error, because high MSE is representing the segmentation or the filtering is of poor quality. So in order to improve the quality of filtering, I employed the anisotropic diffusion filter. Then the dice value should be, if it is dice value is 0, that means there is no overlap between the two regions, and the image which is segmented is not appropriate to the one we expected. Okay, if it is one, then it is the segmentation is of good quality. And as we have seen jacket similarity, we expect the higher value. Rather, we can say in short, the dice similarity, SSIM, the jacket similarity coefficient we expect, and high PSNR we expect. We want higher values for these parameters, and the mean square error should be low. Okay, so this is all, and this is the experimental evaluation. So I got the low values of the mean square error, and the parameters of PSNR, SSM and DICE and JS are increased value I found compared to the another algorithm. Okay, so this is the performance using, already we have seen this, the performance of the similarity based approaches. So this is the performance of my proposed approach. So wherein I got this circular part. So my job is here over that I extracted the fetal contour. I extracted the boundary of the fetal contour. So this is the performance of my algorithm on the first image. On the this is on the first image, on the second image, on the third image. Like this, I perform the evaluation. I applied my algorithm. So this is, you can compare the yellow one which is shown in the yellow color is an existing approach, global approach. This is the proposed global approach. This is the local approach. What I done is I used the I developed the global segmentation approach. After that, I developed the local segmentation approach, and then I combined, and that is a hybrid approach. So here in the figure, I've shown the performance of each and every approach. So existing global, what is the performance? What is the performance of the proposed global? What is the performance of the local global? And what is the performance of the higher global? So you can see here, so everywhere we got the higher values for the blue color. So blue color is for the proposed approach. So this is how, these are the values for PSNR, the correlation coefficient. Okay, and the dice similarity, the jacket similarity coefficient. So wherever you can see in this diagram, I got the higher values for this. So this shows that the performance of my algorithm is better compared to the existing algorithm. So let's come to the end of our presentation. So the in the conclusion part, I like to say that before filtering, what I've done is I've applied the anisotropic diffusion filtering, which was invented by Panora and Malik. So narrowband method I employed in order to reduce the competition time. So the proposed global approach was insensitive to initial location of the contour, but it cannot produce the correct result in presence of the heterogeneous object. So after observing the performance of the global approach, what I do is I have given the output of the global segmentation to the local region-based segmentation, and local segmentation approach performs better in case of the heterogeneous object. Okay. So after giving the output to the local, I got the appropriate result. So this is how, and we have seen already the performance comparison of the two approaches. So what we can have in the future scope. So here I just extracted the feature contour. What I can do is in the future, I can extract the internal parameters of the features, and if they are coming appropriate to the normal ranges, I can say that the we can evaluate the parameters, and from that particular parameters or the sizes of the parameters, we can enhance it. Okay, so we can extend our project. Okay, so this is all regarding my presentation. If you have, these are the references that I have used, and if you have any queries, you can ask me the queries.